A lot of television casting is based upon casting stars, and I've always felt that Stephen doesn't hire TV stars, but his television shows make television stars. He's made a lot of stars.
Well, no, please don't arrest me. Please don't arrest me. I could be disbarred. No, it'd kill my parents.
I mean, when I cast David Schwimmer for that, I think 4B is what we called him, I didn't know who he was, and he came in to pre-read for me, and he was like in the middle of his audition. I thought he was so interesting, so different from what I was looking for, or had talked about. But he was just fantastic, and he was in the middle of his audition, and he just put the paper down. And he goes, "You know, I don't. Why am I here? I'm not sure why I'm here. My agent sent me in for this. I'm not at all right for this." And I said, "Well, you're completely right for this. So just keep reading, because I just wanted to. Let's just finish it." And he was so adorable, and he finished it. And I said, "Look, you're great. Go over to the Bochco building. Da 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 da. You know." He walked in. He had the part in 2 seconds. I mean, they fell in love with him right off the bat.
It's actually a very streamlined process. If you want, I could say something official sounding. I now pronounce this separation commenced.
I remember I kept up with him, just following his career, and when he went I heard he'd gotten a sitcom. I thought that was so odd. I thought, now why would David Schwimmer want to do a sitcom? And how wrong I was. He did the right thing.
You know, I still consider myself your friend, and I hope you feel likewise.
I do.
Because I haven't made that many friends in New York.
I thought it was a big help for the show, particularly with the female parts, that they weren't recognizable people, because it just added to our philosophy of casting real people, casting real actors, not to fulfill the pretty girl to this girl to this girl. Amy was right for the part. It was a bonus that she was beautiful.
Giardella's trying to save his ass.
Did they reach out to you?
One thing that was so great about Amy was how naturally beautiful and kind of earthy and sexy she was, not pretentious.
Let's go outside.
And it was so right for that role, of being a cop. And she was a cop without being tough.
I think we could have a life together.
Is that what happened?
Even if it is, the case never makes.
She was extremely likable and interesting, and we were really lucky to get her.
Figure out how to let people know.
Yeah? Well, why don't you stand right there and I'll give you a big wet one right in front of the desk.
Officer Lacassi?
Yeah.
Phone.
When we cast Sherry Stringfield for her part, in contrast to Amy, just the blonde hair, the button down, and also beautiful, but not TV beautiful. The qualities that Sherry Stringfield had that worked for the show and that appealed to all of us so much was her quietness.
You sure we're doing the right thing?
I'm sure.
Because a lot of people stay together behind less than what we got going, Laurie.
That's not good enough.
I think Sherry had strength and vulnerability.
All right. I want you to kill him.
The ingredients that we were looking for when we were casting NYPD Blue were authentic behavior, authentic looks. They had to be gritty, edgy, interesting.
No hands. John Kelly.
Bill Clark was always enormously helpful with that. Being sure that we were not casting TV perps.
This has got to stop, this crap in the street.
Give me Giardella.
Joe Santos, I think he was thrilled to do the show.
The problem's mine to take care of.
We searched far and wide for that part.
Now, sometimes people get justice without getting time.
Not good enough.
We saw people in New York. We saw a lot of tapes. We cast here. I remember it was a very big decision.
You punk. You gonna tell me what's good enough?
And I was so taken by how terrific he was.
You're gonna keep this up, huh?
Till he's mine. How'd you get the eye?
My husband beat me up after the festivities last night. I'm sure it made for better sex afterward with Greta.
The value of a guest star to an episode, to any episode, but particularly on NYPD Blue, is to enhance, to move the story along.
This is not how I wanted my life to be.
What about making some changes?
You have your series regulars, that's your core group, but each episode, there's 3 or 4 stories going on. And so you populate it with this world.
I feel trapped and ashamed and afraid, and I wish he were dead.
They can sometimes affect you the most in ways that sometimes you can't even put your finger on at the time.
A lot of women that have husbands like yours can't do anything to help themselves. You can. You can make a choice. Do it.
You're indulging in prejudice, Mr. Kelly. Affluence doesn't always purchase opportunity.
Wendy Malick seems to be one of those fabulous girls that you just is so delightful to audition. She's always good. And I remember we saw her a lot for these different shows. And then even on NYPD Blue, I think she'd come in 2 or 3 times before she got that part. And she just said, I'm just going to keep coming back till I get it. And then she got, a terrific part.
Was it in your mind at that point to shoot him?
No, it was not. I wanted him to leave. I just wanted him to leave me alone. I just didn't want him to hit me anymore.
David Milch or any of the producers were always available to answer anybody's questions, give background information. David, has a wealth of background information on any character, any size part whatsoever.
He never paid any attention to me, ever, in all the years that we were together.
And that was enormously helpful to people. And I think that the day players and even maybe the guest stars weren't used to having as much information as he could give. And I think that enriched our show greatly.
And he laughed at me. And he took a step forward and I shot him.
At the beginning, we were really listening to every detail David Milch said because he was creating the world, populating that world. And they're the real characters of life.
You think I'm crazy?
I'm not crazy. I'm a werewolf.
Well, you could be a crazy werewolf, Lou. I mean, I hear a lot of them are nuts. You ought to have it checked out.
Dan Hedaya is a very unique, enormously talented actor. I think I mentioned him to Greg and Hoblet, and he said, he'd be so interesting. And he mentioned it to Stephen, and they knew him from his work on Hill Street Blues.
I'm beast. I'm fury. But when I caught a whiff of this guy, next thing I know, I'm on top of him, and I cut him down. The son of a bitch didn't even have a chance.
That was an unusual situation because everyone auditioned, but they knew his work really well.
I saw it. There were 2 dealers there, too.
They were very comfortable and excited about the possibility that he would do it.
Guilt. And I knew something was gonna happen. I tried to tell you that something was gonna happen.
And it's hard to imagine anyone else being able to pull off what he pulled off.
A big wolf, Greta, too.
Is the detective expecting you?
No, he's not expecting me. He's a close personal friend. John?
Charlie.
John, I gotta talk to you on a deeply personal matter. The features is hit the fan, John.
Charlie Haight and Stephen have known each other for years.
I am trying to protect my ass and my marriage. I am being totally honest with you.
Which is why I don't think it's anybody on the list.
He was on Hill Street for years, and he's a terrific character actor. You can use Charlie Haight in a million places.
Which leaves Minette, right?
Minette?
He's fun and interesting, and he's done a lot of work. You know, he's directed a lot of shows. He's directed pilots for Steven.
Your alibi doesn't stand up,
What
Charlie.
do you mean? I said I was with Claudia. I had sex with her 1.5 times.
She didn't mention that.
Women, well, it happens to be true.
He's so funny in the room. He's so spontaneous. He can do a million voices.
It's 99% I did it. So I had the means, the motive, the opportunity.
All you're missing is a balls.
I thought about that.
And he can act.
Charlie.
You,
Cool out.
black-hearted, joy-hating pig.
I hate you, Charlie.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
Steven has, through the years, worked with so many people and done so many shows, and he creates an environment that is a lot of fun. He expects a lot, and he gives you tremendous latitude to go out and do your job. He has had these long working relationships with people, largely due to that. It's all about relationships. And even as everyone goes off and does their other things through the years, you're still part of that Bochco group, that Bochco family. And I adore it.